Oh, you're eating
Yeah,
cottage
man.
cheese right
What
now?
you eating?
I had for breakfast 4 whole eggs, and then I had 2 English muffins and a Greek yogurt. Cause I hired, he's a guy around here. He trains like pro
Yeah.
bodybuilders, and I just had him like write me on a nutrition program like probably 3 weeks ago. So I've been doing that, and dude, I'm telling you, the pumps I get in the gym now are like stupid. Like when I was eating a bunch of crap, I could train arms for like 2 hours, and I wouldn't get that much of a pump. And now it's like I get a crazy pump. I feel like my arms are gonna explode. So I'm like, well, I probably should have been eating healthier a long
Yeah,
time
man.
ago.
I'm not eating too clean myself. But the exercise with the tricep with the two handles, that just
Uh-huh.
kills my arms, man. That's one of the sickest
This is how
arms
I do it.
exercise I've ever done. It's crazy.
I, I take it like this,
Yeah.
like underhand, and I
Oh, you
go
go underhand?
like push out at the
Yeah.
bottom,
You
like at the
just
bottom of my
squeeze them out, right?
and just
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that today
Yeah.
actually.
I do it with the overhand. Is it better with?
I mean, I think well, you gotta like so you have two
Yeah.
separate things here hanging off. You just grab them like
Okay.
that, and like knuckles
Knuckles
together,
together, just
and then you
squeeze
go.
them out, right?
Yeah, that's how I like doing it. But you could do it overhand too. It's just
All right, man. This is my first interview ever. So
oh,
okay, man. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, like uh, where you're from, what you do, and just the basics?
yeah. I'm from originally from Madison, Wisconsin, which is like the north. It's really cold up there. And then about 2 years ago, I moved to Lexington, Kentucky, so a lot further south. And then now I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is even further south. So I just keep moving south. I'm 24 years old right
Wow.
now. I'm gonna be 25 in August, and I've been powerlifting for like 11 years. Um, compete at 242, which is 110 kilo weight class, and I've totaled 19, 18,
That's
but I'm gonna blow that away.
that's crazy, man.
2000 next meet
You
in
have
3
that.
weeks.
You have that, man.
I feel like
So
I
where do
do.
you start out? Like, I see your videos. You're training in the basement. When was that?
That was right from the beginning. So I started training when I was 14, and it all started down there in the basement. Being 24 now, that's over 10 years ago when I started. Um, and I trained from when I was like 14 to 19 in my parents' basement. And all we had were free weights. We had like a barbell, we had plates, dumbbells up to like hundreds, and that was it. So I just got it all done like deadlifts, rows, squats, bench, dumbbell bench, just your basics. And after that, I went to university for a little bit and I trained there. And then now I train at some awesome gyms
What gym are you training at now?
now that I've moved. Maxed Out Gym in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Is that
And they have
everything?
everything. Um, everything you could think of. Like, it's probably the best gym I've ever been
I
to.
only go.
Plus,
Sorry.
it's, no, you're good.
All right, I just go to a chain gym, right? So it has like dumbbells up to 90 pounds and some basic equipment, right? No glute ham raise, no special bars, whatever,
Same.
Like,
I mean, I'm spoiled,
yeah,
man. Like, yeah, now it's like the best. So I've trained in commercial gyms before, and that is the thing. It's tougher to make progress in commercial gyms because there's just the equipment's not built for you, and like you don't have all the
yeah,
options. So the atmosphere
yeah,
alone, like I don't know how you do it because I've seen you and you get crazy hype every time you go in the gym, and that is hard to
yeah,
do in a commercial gym. So major props for being able to do that. If you were in like a hardcore gym, man, you'd be losing your mind.
yeah, definitely, man. There's so many rules in the gym. It's crazy. It's like we have the deadlift platform,
It's
and then we have like the ellipticals and the stair machines and everything where all the people go and just do the cardio, and I'm just deadlifting, like just casually deadlifting, and they're like, what are you doing, man? You can't drop the weights, you can't yell, you can't do whatever.
well, the thing commercial gyms are quiet. That's like the
Yeah,
worst part.
yes,
It's
quiet as
quiet.
hell. When I take my earphones out like this, it's it's crazy, man.
You
It's like it's so
can't
quiet.
do it.
It's like music is so. low, and it's crazy, man.
Hmm.
No atmosphere at all. So I reckon if I go to a real gym, like you, I can, yeah. So when you started out, right? Did you follow any particular training program, or did you just like go in and just hit whatever and just get crazy with it?
For a while, there wasn't much structure. Like I just go in, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna deadlift 3 days a week or go heavy every
Yeah.
single day, and you just kind of went by feel. And I tried to just like kill myself. Like I'm gonna do as much as possible. Um, because when you're starting out, you can like train like that, and it won't break you down. If I tried to train like that now,
Yeah.
I'd be done. I mean, I would just injuries left and right. So now I have to like be really careful. I got to think about everything. Like lower body days, I have to have 2 lower body days a week, Tuesday and a Friday. I only do on those lower body days 3 exercises total. That's it, because my body can't take anymore. Like tomorrow is gonna be squats, Yates row, and then glute hammerings,
Yeah.
and that's it.
So I'm training under you right now, and I've been training with you for 10 weeks now, and
I think
yeah,
we're
10 weeks.
yeah,
And I have to say, it's so like very specific exercises, right? For lower body,
yeah.
especially. And they are so tough. Like, if you had me do more exercises, I would just be burnt out. So you think recovery is a big part of, you know, training and being able to progress. What do you do outside of gym to recover the way you do, to be able to hit those hard workouts?
Well, this is something I'm just starting to now take more seriously because um, something's always aching or I'm always injured. You're tearing something, pushing your body like this. So lately, what I've been doing to just, I'm thinking about all the things outside of the actual training. So I got my diet in order now. I started doing yoga, like
Thursday?
30 minutes a day. I'm stiff as a board. I'm stiff as a, I can barely move, guys. I can barely move. So it's like, it sounds funny. I'm like, what could I do to get more mobile? And I'm like, yoga, open my hips
Yeah.
up like crazy, which would help my squat. Like opening my hips up, that's gonna help my squat like crazy. So I started doing this, and I can already move better. I haven't been doing it that long, but I do it. I try to do it like 3 to 5 days
Yeah.
a week for 30 minutes. And then I've been doing this one a while. I take Epsom salt baths. And then the obvious, I'll put ice on. Like I'll have these ice packs that just wrap around, and I'll ice my knees, I'll ice my shoulder. Those are the main things. I also make sure every day I take a multivitamin. Well, it's like 6 multivitamin pills because it's
Yeah.
animal pack, which has like 6 pills in there. I take joint support, which has glucosamine and a bunch of other stuff, and then I take omega threes, which has a ton of fish oil, and that helps too. So all those things kind of combined are what I do now to like really think about health and recovery and keeping inflammation
Yeah,
down.
because recovery is basically like you train for
The,
like two
the,
hours a day, and what are you doing with the other 22 hours, right? It's
the thing too, the further you get into this, like the stronger you get, the less
yeah,
work you can do, the less often you train, and the more you got to think about recovery.
yeah,
Like I can't train as much volume as I used to, or as frequently.
yeah. I feel it if I go heavy like a workout or two, I get a little bit winded for the third. It's like that.
Well, you had that week too where you like were just dying on everything, and then you took the
Yeah,
deload and you came back feeling good because it's like the body just
yeah.
needs
It was
rest.
crazy, man. I did 155 for like three hard grinders on squats, and then I
Yeah.
did 5 easy reps. Like it was crazy. I didn't even know how much a deload can give you, like energy wise in the gym, just being fresh.
I I take them a lot just because like or I'll just take like 4 days off from the gym. Like if I'm on the road
Yeah.
traveling or something, like I just was traveling, I took like 4 days off, came back, felt great. So I'll do
So
that
what do you
too.
do? Like, you have a meet on the 4th of June, right?
I think we froze up here.
All right.
All right, we're back.
So you have a meet the 4th of June, right?
That's the next one. And then the big one is Boss of
Yeah.
Bosses, August 20th.
So, like last week of the prep, right? You're starting a prep right now, 12 weeks, whatever.
This one, this one is a little shorter because I've been injured, so it's only going to be 10. Or I'm 9.5 weeks out right now, but I had to shorten it, and he could to get the injuries
So
healed
like a
up.
last week of the prep, right? You take all days off, or do you just go very light, just a very light deload? Do you do, I don't know.
Typically, I what I used to do, and a lot of clients they prefer this. They'll hit their openers on Monday of meet week, and then they take the rest of the week off. But what I do, I'll hit my final training day usually a week before the meet, so like Saturday a week out, and then I take the whole week off to give myself a little extra rest and come in fresh. And I notice when I get to meet day, then I feel really good. Like my hips feel good, everything's moving well. So just the rest again is what I find is the key.
But if you take a whole week off, have you ever experienced like getting misscrewed on squats, just feeling weaker, because you're not practicing the movement?
I always feel stronger coming off that. And the thing too, in prep, I don't do any low bar squatting because low bar it aggravates my forearms. So I'll do all high bar and then I get to the meet and I low bar for like the first time in months, and it feels like riding a bike. Like
Yeah.
I'm just, it's like I don't even miss a beat. It feels
Have you tried
natural.
out the Duffin bar or a Buffalo bar? Can't remember what the name is.
I mean, he just calls it a duffalo, but
Buffalo,
it's the same
Buffalo.
thing as a buffalo. I don't know how that worked because I would thought Buffalo Bar they came out first and then he just like came out with his own and called it something else. But I've not tried it because they're like
Yeah.
$700. So if in Europe they're probably like 1,000. But it just I don't want to spend that much, man. I'm like I don't know. I can high bar and I'll be
Yeah.
fine. And high bar blows my low bar up, so it kind of works out. But I know that helps take pressure off the shoulders and forearms.
Yeah. Jumping from a subject, uh, when we see your videos from back in the days, right? We see you
Yeah.
deadlifting some crazy amounts of weight. I see you did like a 810 or 815 in your basement. It was crazy, man. It's like the adrenaline rush on YouTube, man. It's crazy. You know,
I those were the days. It just that's what started it all. But it was nice to be able to like freak out. You didn't have to think about people looking at you and stuff because it's just you're by yourself. So that's what I loved about that atmosphere. Like I could just do my thing, and if I wanted to say something or do whatever, throw the weights down like I could. Now people keep asking me like you should do a training session there again, and I can't now because honestly all the weights are gone or most of them. The floor is fixed. Like they had to like reconcrete the floor because I put like a crater in it, and then so I can't deadlift down there anymore.
so the lift of the aggression is the deadlift, right? Uh, you go very crazy on that.
Yeah,
If you go the same on bench, for example, you might up killing yourself.
I
So
yeah.
why is the deadlift a lift where you can go do and be pissed off, and rip the bar up? Why is deadlift the lift of aggression?
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, I feel like deadlift, if something goes wrong, you can just put the weight down or drop it or whatever. Um, the worst you're probably going to do is like strain your back. Yes, it's possible to like bulge your disc, but that's so rare, honestly. It doesn't, I mean, it really doesn't happen that often. Um, so deadlift, I feel like as far as the main three lifts goes, it's like the lowest chance of serious injury. I mean, you could still, it might be, as far as back strains, very common, but that's just like, that's part of the game. So it's that lift too that people can get away with not using as much form on. Not saying you should, but you can kind of just go up and like rip it.
We've seen some of your videos where you talk about deadlift form and rounded upper back and how you how it's not so dangerous to like lift with a little bit around the back, and going a little bit balls out. You think like 100%
Well,
like straight back all the time is is like the way to go if you want to push yourself and progress?
I don't, because the thing too here is the more your back gets developed, the more extreme the curvature is going to look because you're going to have more muscle. The back is like this. It
Yeah.
curves up and down. It's like in an S. So it's never going to be straight. Like that's a misconception. It's going to be, the straighter it's going to be is if you have
Yeah.
less muscle. So for a guy starting out with no back muscle, his back's going to look pretty straight. He can deadlift like that. But if you're really developed and stuff, it will never look straight. And I think upper back rounding is fine. There's a big difference. Like you can feel it from like letting your upper back round or having your low back just go. And most advanced lifters are not going to have their low back round. Like it just isn't going to happen. You want to stay as tight as possible for as long as you can, but we all know as the weights get heavier, you're going to get pulled forward. So you just train to stay as tight as possible, and then it'll should carry over to a max lift, and you should be able to stay that much tighter. You can lock the weight up. You'll still round, but it'll be
Yeah.
less than if you didn't train it at all.
Yeah. What are your cues to get tight in the deadlift? Like we know tucking your elbows in, is that what you do?
That's one. That's the main cue that you really got to think about. Now, if the hips are very tight, all the more reason to do yoga. I mean, I hate it. Look, I hate it, but it makes me feel good. Like I can move, so it's not fun. But if your hips are tight on the deadlift, you'll be leaning too far forward, and that will kill your strength. So that's one thing. You don't want to be leaning too far forward. The bar should be over the middle of the feet. If the bar is too close, when you move your shins forward, it's going to hit your shins and it's going to pop out in front of you. So you want the bar to be lined up where it comes up straight to your knees. So line it up over the middle of the feet. Definitely the main cue though is keeping those elbows locked in tight. Like it's just like kind
Yeah.
of very subtle. You almost flex your chest too, and it'll raise your chest up, it'll raise your head up, and it'll keep you tight. Now, you want to do that for as long as you can. I will be honest, when I'm maxing out, I don't think about it as much because at that point it's like,
Yeah.
let's just roll. But if I train like that, it translates over. So those are the main cues. Pick your head up too. I'm not huge on looking. A lot of people like the neutral head position where they're kind of looking down. I really don't like it because I feel like the body
Yeah.
follows the head, so the head's gonna want to be
You know,
up.
it's so weird because you do this with your lats, right? You're trying to get them as tight as possible.
Mhm.
That's what we try to do on the bench and the squat as well. Try to get as tight as possible
Yep.
in the lats and everything, lock everything in. Do you think, yeah, what do you think about being very tight in the squat and the bench as, tightening in everything and just being locked in?
I mean, if you want to be as tight as possible
Yeah,
on any of the lifts. Um, Over time, you'll kind of find out naturally what works best for you. But on the squat, high bar, I mean, you can't get as tight. You just can't. High bar is like, it's sitting on your
yeah,
traps, so there's not as much like tightness there. Low bar, you can really crank that thing in. And that's part of the reason why low bar is a stronger position because it's just your shoulders are in a tighter position and they lock that bar on your back and you get more back into it.
yeah,
As far as bench, like, I mean, you'll obviously need some tightness. Um, I feel like there's kind of an in between though. Like if I focus so hard on getting tight with my scapula and everything, I lose a little power. So there's like this in between where I'm locked in, but I'm not so tight that I can hardly breathe.
yeah. There's definitely a middle thing in the middle, right? You can't go either way.
I feel like
So, you know, you see all these crazy stories about mothers being able to lift the cars of their children, right? When they're trapped underneath the car. Do you think you're able to create such a sick mindset when you're in the gym to be able to lift those kinds of weight? Because they clearly never deadlifted 910,000 pounds, but something happens like higher power. Do you think it's possible to generate that in a training session?
I mean, it's very difficult because I've had moments like that where I'll have like this huge rush of like aggression and anger, and I will be able to lift like feel like I can lift anything in front of me. Unfortunately, it usually happens on like one of my last warm-ups rather than the actual top set. Like I'll hit like 675 and I'll have that happen, and then when I want to
Yeah.
try 800 something, it won't be. So it's like it's really hard to like call on it. You can get a little bit of that, but to get to that full on like blackout, just whatever, that is pretty difficult to tap into. I don't know if it's just possible that you can call upon that. I mean, you would have to, the way you would have to like do that, you'd literally have to have someone hold a gun to your head. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how else you get that much of an adrenaline rush. So I would say you can't really tap into it, but you can get a little bit of it. Not
Yeah,
fully.
because when I'm just like cooking food, whatever, I'm standing in the kitchen, I can suddenly get a huge adrenaline rush just like from listening to a song and listening to some music, and I can just get extreme adrenaline, right? But when I get to the gym, it often goes away before I hit the gym because I often use it up. It's like a health meter, right?
It's like it's hard to time
Yeah.
it because it's exhausting. Your body can't hold that for that long. So you might use it once and boom, it's gone. It's like not something you can keep calling upon because like you get injured if you were going that hard all the time. That's why your body won't let you.
Yeah, because when I was going for that PR on Saturday, warming up, I felt a lot of adrenaline, right? I felt like I could lift everything. But when I got to like 180, 200, I felt blank. I didn't feel
Use
like I had a lot of, I didn't
yeah,
feel like a lot of energy. It felt heavy for me. I was not really prepared, you
yeah.
know.
You're burnt out at that
Yeah, I
point.
think so. Even though I had the ammonia caps, maybe maybe I
Yeah.
should start toning down a little bit on the usage of those. But
I only bring them out when it's like heavy signals at the end of my meet prep. Those do help get in that mind frame to an extent. They definitely do.
so you're at the meet, right? And you're gonna hit a PR, let's say on the deadlift, and you have a lot of people cheering you on. You have your friends, you have family cheering you on for the big lift. Do you feel like performing under pressure is something that gets you uh, makes you stronger in a way? Do you think that by training by yourself, you're not gonna get that full potential because no one's really cheering for you, or can you generate that alone? And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a lot tougher when there's actually people watching. And this was something I was really bad at for a while. Like, I could train so good by myself, but then as soon as there was a crowd, I was like, I started missing lifts left and right. And I don't know if it's more of a mental thing or what, but it's a whole different ball game when you actually got to get in front of people and meet, or even at like an event and you got to put on
Yeah,
a show and like everybody's
yeah,
expecting it. The expectations are what puts the pressure on you. And I mean, every meet I go to now, you got 100 people coming up to you being like, man, I can't wait to see you hit this or whatever. And it's like, oh man, here we go.
there
Well,
we
it's
go.
pressure. I'm, I'm much more better at handling it now and just like focusing on my own game plan. But it was something I struggled with for so long. So it's definitely a thing where you could be really good in the gym or whatever, and then get to like a meet or get in front of people and not do so well. Because I struggled with it for
But do you
years.
think that can help you in a way too? Just like if you're going for a hard set of 20, for example, you're exhausted by the 12th rep, but you have someone cheering you on to get that last 8 reps. Do you think that helps? Like having that mental edge by having someone cheer on you?
Yeah, especially in the case of like a girlfriend or something. If you put your girl in the room, like you're not gonna want to look bad. So that's a perfect example. I would say that more so than anything else is what will give you that boost because you will just not want to stop. You'll be like, all right, well, if you were there by yourself, you might give up
Yeah.
at that point, but you're like, I'm not gonna look bad. So that would be the main example I can
Yeah,
think
that
of
actually, yeah.
because we,
Yeah, that actually happened to me. A couple of weeks ago. We had a 20 rep squat, Yeah,
Square.
squat. I was so tired by the 12th rep, and I was like, really want to lay down. And she was like, "Yeah, go, 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 go." I was like,
Nice.
"Serious?" Okay, here we go.
You're like, all right,
Here we go. 8 more reps. Let's go.
can't feel my legs,
Yeah,
but okay.
no, that was bad, man.
I've been there.
I was so sore, man. All right, man. Do you think uh, some exercises for the deadlifts that will make your deadlift skyrocket? Do you have any of those laying around like you do in your training?
Well, I mean, the main one, obviously, everybody knows about. I love the 45-degree back
Yeah.
raise or back extension with the bar. I mean, I love that. I might try doing, going back to putting the band on too, like we just started having you do,
Crazy.
where you put the band around your neck
That was
and you have
crazy,
the
man.
bar too. I've done it before. It's just been a while, so I might try it out just for something different. Um, Other than that, pause deadlifts right off the floor are my best. Those are my favorite. Those two exercises are what I think has the biggest carryover. Um, but I'm trying out rows right now. We'll see how much that works, and then I'm going to try some glute ham raise. So that I'm yet to determine how much those help, but we will find out at the
Yeah,
meet.
adding those bands into the 45 degree just kills my hamstrings. It's like a serious new game, man. With
Especially
yeah,
at the top.
yeah, definitely. So
It's a lot
yeah,
of
it
tension.
just really hurts on the hams. More than I just do the bar, I can't really feel the hamstrings too much actually. But when I do it with the band, I accelerate so hard. It just hits them so,
Yeah.
make them burn. Um, you had me do deficit pause deadlifts. Do you think deficits also have its place in a deadlift training program?
If it's a low deficit, I think a lot of times people want to get higher and higher deficit, which I've done before too, but really it changes
Yeah.
your form so much that it's kind of pointless if you're going too high. Like it just completely throws your leverages off. So if you keep it to like a one plate deficit or something like that, it can have merit. I just wouldn't start going too crazy with it.
For bench, what do you do for benching?
My favorite for bench is 3-second pauses, and then floor press helps a lot. I'm not huge in my belief that overhead press helps bench a lot. I think you can skip overhead pressing altogether and still build a stronger bench than if you focus a lot on it. So floor press is the only thing they can kind of rile up the shoulders. So right now, personally, I'm doing pause bench and spoto presses where you pause right above your chest instead of on your chest. That way you can't like
Yeah.
sink it in or anything, and you have to keep that constant tension. Now I'm just getting back into it, so it's nothing heavy, but that's what I'm
Is
doing.
floor pressing something you would go max effort on, like put them in front of the normal bench, or is it something you would put after your normal benching?
The way I was doing it was I was using it as a primary accessory movement after bench, but you can definitely put it as a main movement because it is that valuable of an exercise if you can do it without shoulder
Yeah.
pain.
So, 3 second pause benching, is very hard. And I often kid myself, I'll probably just do like 2 seconds because 3 seconds at the bottom with maximal load is
It,
just grueling.
yeah, I mean, people cut it short. It's easy to do.
Yeah, I think I've cut it short to down 1 or 2 seconds before, but I don't tell you.
All been there. We've all been there.
Yeah, man. For squats, what do you do for squats?
Squat, honestly, I deadlift a lot to get my squat up. And then I do high bar squats and I'll start at like 20. This is what I'm doing right now. Start at like 20, then do like 15, and then 12, 10, and I'm going to keep working my way down and get a super high bar squat, go into the meet and squat like 50 more pounds low bar because high bar is a lot tougher than low
Yeah,
bar.
because obviously you do low bar in your competition, right? So
Yeah,
deadlifting will have strength your low bar because you do a lot of back work, for deadlifts, hyper.
yeah. The last meet prep, I wasn't able to squat at all, and I still had a PR in the meet on squat, not having squatted because I was deadlifting so heavy. So that kind of goes to show.
So is that like how you would do a 12-week cycle, like 3 months? Well, when we started out, we would start off with some higher reps, like 10 reps, 12 reps. Do you think
Yeah.
working yourself down in reps each week is the way to get optimal peak?
Well, that's what I like doing on squats. But like tomorrow I got my 10 rep set on squat, and I'm gonna work it down each week. But for like deadlift, I like doubles, triples, and sets of fours a lot. And I'll do max rep sets. That's my main preference on those because it's never failed me. But the tapering down can work. I prefer it on squats mainly.
So,
Everything else like a lower rep.
you know, when I came to you 2 months ago, nearly three, I was looking into some other coaches, but what I found intriguing about you is that your intensity is through the roof, basically, and that you're someone that I can relate to. I'm a teenager, I'm only 17, and looking at your videos, you're talking about how it was growing up, and I can relate to a lot of things you say. So you think relating and having someone you can uh, look up to is beneficial. You think?
Yeah, because I mean, then you can at least see like, all right, this person's done it, and they're very similar to me. Not even just like as far as what we do, but as far as how they think. So it's kind of cool. It's like the more relatable someone is, the more likely you are to think I can do that too. And um, I mean, it's a lot harder for me to think about now, but coming up, I had a lot of people I'd look at and I'd see the videos and everything, and I'd be like, man, I'd love to do that someday. This guy did it, so why can't I? And when you see somebody else do something, it helps you as well as
Yeah.
possible. So no excuses. That's what's been a thing with me lately. I'll see somebody pull 80, and then I'm like, all right, well, I might as well try it. And then you end up hitting it. It's like just seeing other people do it.
Yeah. Also, comparing yourself to other people is. I just find myself miserable when I compare myself to other people. I feel so bad about my progress, whatever, everything's going good, but it's when I look at Instagram, I see someone pull like 220, right? And I'm like, damn, I wish I had that, right? So like comparing yourself to other people, is that something you struggled with in the past?
I did in the past, not anymore. Like I'll see somebody hit a lift, and I'll just be like, all right. But now I'm just all about like improving on myself. Like I really don't care what everybody else is doing. If I can add pounds to my total, I'm gonna get better and better, and I'll be right where I need to be. So I worry about myself now, rather than like if he's getting better, it doesn't necessarily threaten me anymore. I used to be
Yeah.
so threatened when I'd see somebody who was a competitor in my weight class or whatever, and they were like hitting numbers better than me. But now I just don't even worry about it. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I have to do, so I'm gonna handle my business, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, definitely. Growing up, did you have someone you looked up to?
There were a bunch, but off the top of my head, I can't think of them. I mean, like Konstantin Konstantinov's, like as far as deadlift, that's just one example, but there were a million of them. Like I would see people and I'd just be like, dang, I want to do that. But nobody was like my major inspiration, so to speak. I just had a lot of people I looked at and I wanted to hit those numbers.
Yeah, obviously you had your own gym in the basement, right? And your
Yeah,
parents had to be supportive to some extent to buy all the equipment. It's pretty expensive, and do you think having parents that support you um, are beneficial?
yeah. I mean, they put up with a lot of it. Um, I got most of the equipment because I would do landscaping
Yeah.
in the summer, and so I would take all the money and I take all the money and just use it on equipment. Like I save up 500 bucks. Okay, I'm gonna buy this bar or whatever, and so I just kept acquiring more and more, and a lot of that was uh, over summers making that money,
Yeah.
but it helped. I mean, my mom isn't crazy about any of this, but she just tolerated it.
Hi. Thought you didn't know. Okay.
So she just tolerated it, but
Yeah. Sorry
that
for
was
that, man.
it.
Uh,
No, you're good.
um, I see you train with your dad a lot in your basement too. Your dad was actually the one that started training with you, right? Or you started training with him?
Yeah, he started lifting. Yeah, I mean, he just started lifting, and I just started doing a little bit of it, and then I passed him up after not too long. But um, we didn't really train together. We just like he would help me out, he'd spot me.
Yeah, man. Some
So
mental support.
yeah, he's always been very supportive of this
Yeah.
whole thing.
So you looking up, you have done a lot of different sports like track and field, American football, marathon running, in your earlier years. When did you find out that powerlifting was the way to go for you?
Right after the marathon thing, I was like, all right, I just want to lift heavy because I thought that sucked, man. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna stick to this. I tried doing bodybuilding once, and that was that fun for me. So after that, I'm 19 years old. I was like, I'm gonna go solely into powerlifting. I didn't want to bodybuild and cut down anymore or anything like that.
Yeah, you mean you were doing some jiu-jitsu Brazilian too, like Muay Thai or whatever?
I tried it out, but again, it was so much cardio that it definitely took away from my strength and my lifting. I lost a ton of weight, so I just decided to give that up. But it got me really mobile. That's the one thing I could move like I never moved. I could bend in weird ways, and that was nice. So that helped. That helped the mobility aspect, but it just took away. It was too much cardio.
Yeah. Who was Pete Rubish when he was growing up? Did you go socialize a lot? Did you go party like the norm?
No, man. I never partied, never drank. I swear to God, I didn't drink till I was 21. Um, I just didn't do any of that. I was a loner. I hung out by myself. Like, I mean, I didn't want to go out. I didn't have any friends really. I just kind of like went home, did my thing, went to school, went home. Um, it wasn't until I was like 19 where I still didn't really drink or anything like that, but I was more in the social scene because I started working as a
Yeah.
doorman. Uh, but the only time I drink now, for instance, is after the night of a meet. When I'm done with the meet, I'll have like two drinks, and that's it. So it's like once every 12 weeks now, I'll have like two drinks, just kind of unwind. I'll go out to dinner after the meet and I'll order some drinks. But I'm not into that. I don't want to party at all anymore. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do any of that. I'm not. It's
So you're
not my
basically
thing.
channeling all your energy towards lifting and self-improvement, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather just stay at home if I'm gonna do anything. Like I like staying at home. I like even going on a walk or something. I'd rather do that than go to a club. Like if I'm getting a girlfriend, I won't find her at a club. Like
No.
it's not. I don't go to clubs. I don't pick girls. I like my girlfriends are found from the gym or like training and stuff. It's like I am not about finding some girl at some club. I mean, there's no other reason to go to a club anyway or a bar. You're looking for girls, but it's like I don't even want to deal with those kinds of girls because I don't want to be going out all the time. So if I find a girl at a bar, you got to go out all the time, and I don't want
Yeah,
to do
that's
that.
true, man. I can totally relate as well. I don't have too much experience, but I'll get there someday, I guess.
Well, I mean, I didn't have any experience till I was 19, so there you go. And now life is good. It's a matter of that's what's cool. You can change your life. You can do whatever you want to do because I didn't get girls. I was terrible with girls until even when I was 19, I was terrible. It's like that's when things started coming together. I started having confidence through my training, and I loved what I was doing. I felt more confident, got easier and easier. And it's like now being the age I am now, 24, here we are 5 years later. It's like I'm a different person. So you can get to that point. I went from nothing to no problem in 5 years, and that's from
Yeah.
lifting, like this confidence I gained. So it's kind of
You
cool.
can gain a lot of confidence by lifting, and you can really find yourself by lifting. It surprises a lot of people.
it's spiritual, man. You go in the gym, it's like it's some deep stuff, like conquering yourself, improving yourself. It's crazy, and a lot of good things manifest from your training. Like my whole life has become what it is because of my training, because of the grind. I mean, I was not. This was never. This was the vision, but this was never. 5 years ago, it was only a
Yeah.
dream. It's like all these things I have now. Looking back, it's crazy because it's like this was all the stuff I dreamed about. I never could have imagined.
Is there any time in your career that you rethought your plans and your goals for all this? Have you ever thought about, you know, just quitting and just living the normal life, or have you always been this determined and encouraged by reaching your goals?
I mean, there was a time when I tore my hip labrum and I couldn't squat for 2 years, and I started kind of falling off the map a little more. And like I got married and everything at that time. I just kind of was like, I thought maybe this was it. I was never going to be that great. Like I was kind of ready to call it quits and move on and just live more normally because I was so discouraged. But in the last year or so, I managed to pull myself up from that, and I'm back at it. It's just there's times where it's like you're injured, you're banged up, you think it's over, and it's discouraging, or you miss lifts and you have these goals in mind and you're not hitting these goals, and you're like, man, I'm never gonna get there. So many times like that, or like so many times of loneliness of like I have nothing. I'm not, and you have nothing, and then you're missing your goals, so you're even more pissed, and you're just like, how do I get through this point? And it seems hopeless, and I've had a lot of times like that. It's crazy looking back of just hopelessness, but somehow or another it turned around, and I always managed to come through.
How do you manage to pull up from something like that, like your hip labrum, right? Um, that was a tough time for you, I guess. Um, how was it coming
Mhm.
back? How did you do it?
The main things were I started working with a physical therapist online, actually, and she helped me get some range of motion back. I started doing voodoo flossing on my hip. I got PRP injections. I'm about to get my third round of those, which they take your platelets from your blood and they inject those platelets back into the injury site. The thing I've learned with injuries, if it's a serious injury and it's not healing, you can't just rest it because it won't heal just by resting it. You have to do some sort of like stimulation with it to like get it back. You have to get the blood flowing back into the area. And that's the biggest mistake I believe I made because I tried to rest it for that long and it never got better. So I need to be doing something actively to improve
Yeah,
on it.
like your shoulder was a little bit banged up.
Thing.
Yeah,
If I just sit on my hands, like I started benching again, and it's so light for me. It's like 30% of my max right now, but it's like I have to do it because I got to get the blood flow back.
yeah, because I was reading something online about you saying that, correct me if I'm wrong, that you wanted to rest it up for a long time before starting any kind of circulation.
Yeah, I rested it for about 2, 3 months, but at that point you need to like start doing
Yeah.
something. I got the PRP injections. I'm getting them done one more time. So initially you may have to rest it, but then it's like you have to get to a point where you're doing high reps or something to get
Yeah.
blood flowing.
Like, yeah, if your shoulder is banged up, you can still do a lot of things. Like you can do arm work, you can train your arms, you can do a lot of things, right? So, do you do any of that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kept busy. I did a lot of like tricep push downs and curls in my spare time to kind of work around it because it's like I was bored. I could barely train, so I needed something to like keep me busy.
Yeah, man. I find my curl numbers to be very bad. My curl.
Curls are they're a lift though. If you train them for like a month, they'll
Yeah,
come up so fast. It'll be way different than when you start out. You just have to train it and it'll come up real quick.
Yeah, so you think arm strength has a correlation with your bench as well?
Well, the one thing I do think arm size does. I've seen like these
Yeah.
big benchers have
Eric's
big
Bodo.
arms every time. Yeah, every time. So I'm like, I think not necessarily curls like strengthening it, but having big arms in general. I feel like that
Yeah,
helps the
leverage it,
bench.
right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes, I believe that's what's going on there.
Yeah, so you start your own business about 2 years ago?
Yeah,
PR
2
Strength.
years now.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. Well, it's just kind of it started out pretty simple. Only had maybe 10 clients I was working with to start out. But then right now it's about 35, and that's pretty much where I top it off. Because for me, like if you take on too many, like it's too hard to get to everything. And then I
Yeah.
travel a lot now, so it's like I can't be taking on a crazy amount. But I just basically send people training on a weekly basis. We keep in contact throughout the week. Um, it's not like it's more involved than a lot of people, but I'm not holding anybody's hand either. So it's like I give the blueprint, you guys follow it, you get back to me, we work from there. Um, there is a little bit of form tweaking, but to a large extent, people,
Yeah.
based on how they're built, are all going to lift a little differently. Like a lot of guys squat so narrow, I
Yeah, I
couldn't believe
started.
it.
Yeah,
And like I can't,
yeah, I squatted very narrow, and you actually corrected me on that. Squatting a little bit wider and with a lower bar placement, and I really think that helped a lot.
it's but some guys are just built to squat better narrower, like
Yeah.
Jesse Norris squats like right next to his. I can't do that. I got to go wider. So everybody, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's a little different with how they're built. Like if you take a bigger guy and he's shorter but stockier, like let's take a guy who's 5'6", 250. His deadlift stance is going to be wider. Naturally, it's going to want to be wider than somebody like us. We're going to go narrower because we're taller, a little lankier type build.
Yeah, do you think deadlift and squat stance has correlation with each other? Like you go very wide in your squat stance, right? Uh, uh,
Yep.
yeah,
Deadlift
very
is
narrow
narrow.
with the deadlift. Yeah. If you can generate a lot of power with like wider stance squats, why don't you do it with your deadlifts as well?
Well, the thing about deadlift, one of the main reasons I don't like going with a wider stance is your knees will get in the way of your arms when you're trying to lock your lats in. So I prefer
Yeah.
going narrower because then I have more room to clear my knees when I'm trying to lock those lats in tight. I can stay tighter. That's the main reason I switched. Because I kind of had an in-between stance before. It wasn't wide, but it wasn't narrow. And I've been way stronger since I
Yeah,
brought it in.
because Sumo was cheating, right?
It is,
We all know
absolutely.
that. So, uh,
It
yeah,
hurts.
I saw your animal video where you did. I was like,
Yeah, it was like,
what are you doing, man? Are you serious?
I was trying, but the groin stretch was
Oh my
extreme.
God,
Like my girl's not a fan of this.
I love my ass up there. All right, man. Do you think, um, we have quite long arms. You have long arms too.
Yeah,
Do you go very wide, like outside the rings, or do you go inside the rings on the bench?
I do pinky
Yeah.
on the rings. So my pinkies are on the rings. My bench, so I feel like that's kind of in between what most people do. Um, and that's just what I find I'm most powerful with. It's like, it's not too close, but it's not too wide where I'm going to strain my pecs all the time.
Yeah, it probably has a lot to do with your build too, like how wide you are, how broad shoulders.
Definitely.
Yeah. I find a little bit closer grip helps me because if I have the pinkies on the rings, for example, it just puts a lot of strain on my shoulder. Even though I keep my elbows tucked in, puts a lot of
Yeah,
stress right here, I feel.
yeah, I understand
Yeah,
too.
I had some guy at the gym who was complaining about his shoulder, and he was benching like all the way out, and I was like, "Serious, what are you doing, man?
Right.
You gotta bring a little bit in.
Yeah.
Come
No,
on, man."
You know your problem,
Yeah,
buddy.
I was trying to impress someone at the gym yesterday, and I was doing some squats, right? Like some warm up with 135, whatever. And I wanted to press it over my head and put it in the rack like this.
Oh boy.
Fuck, should never have done that, man. Like a loud snap in my shoulder. Serious, it hurt like hell. The weight just freaking.
I
No, man,
definitely
it
know.
was crazy. It hurts right now,
Like I never do it again.
man. Yeah, I ended up looking like a complete douchebag. I don't know, but yeah. So I'm looking forward to see how bench goes tomorrow. But it's
Yeah,
yeah,
good luck.
but yeah, I'll find a way anyway. So do you think there's something you want to add on to this interview? Like, is there something you want to go through that we haven't?
Trying to think. I mean, we covered most of our bases here. I feel like um, this was a fun interview. It's probably one of the most fun ones I've done. As far as the questions, were very unique, so I think we covered most
Yeah,
of it.
because I didn't really like prepare at all. I did some kind of
That's good.
keywords, but I forgot them, so I had to come up with them top of my head. You know. That makes the best questions, though, I
Worked
think.
out.
Maybe I should become like,
I think so too. Same for
yeah,
us.
man. So it was a pleasure having you, man. Just one more question I want
Yeah.
to ask you, though. Is there
Okay.
something you would have done different training wise, leading up to your success today?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have neglected mobility as much. Like, I mean, man, because you can get away with that for like 6 years where you're like, I don't ever warm up. I just go on and train. And now I'm like, holy crap, man, everything hurts. I can feel it all over. So it's like, I have to warm up now. And I just wish I had neglected that. That's the main thing. And I wish I wouldn't have squatted like 3 days a week and stupid stuff like that. Because I'm just like, oh, that's not good for the long term. Like your body needs to rest and stuff. And I wish I'd placed more of an emphasis on that, like recovery right from the get go than just like, let's just train heavy all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Oops, just snapped something. All right.
It's just like, now I'm like having to pay for it.
Yeah, definitely, man. But don't you think there's a time and a place to do that? Like, just go balls to the walls, just crank out, just get it, shit.
And you can do it when you're like, your age up to like 21, but I mean, there gets to be a point where it's like it does not work like that, and you're just like feeling tight
Yeah.
everywhere. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to do all this stuff. I hate it. I got to do yoga. I got to eat healthy. Like
Man.
this, so I'm kind of making up for it now.
Yeah. But we all learn, right?
That's you go through it and then you figure it out later on. Like all the stuff I've learned has been through trial and error.
So we only have that natural juice in Norway, but do you have some unnatural juice in the States?
We do have all natural juice. We have,
Almond juice?
I mean,
Yeah.
almond juice. We have
Oh,
almond milk.
okay.
I mean, the natural juices have kind of a strange taste. They're just, I don't know what it is. It's got they all have a weird taste. They're not necessarily bad, but they're different. Like, I don't know what the deal is.
In Norway we have limited amounts of juices, right? We have Tropicana. I
Yeah,
think that's over in the States as well. Tropicana.
yeah,
And I think we have another one. But it's all like plain, like apple juice, orange juice. Nothing like
you don't get any
watermelon
crazy
lemonade, whatever. Come on, we gotta get some of that.
that kind of
No,
stuff.
we don't have it.
So you just
Yeah, we just have the
basics?
basics. It's crazy.
Goodness.
Yeah,
People always tell me that. They come to the States and they're like, holy cow, you guys have such weird selections of stuff. And like,
in Norway we only have two
you
in
know?
my store. We have two choices of Oreos. We have the normal one, the black, and then we have like the double stuffing, right?
See, this is why all other countries are so much
So,
healthier than
what the hell? I want to taste something else, man. We have some golden Oreos too.
this. They say Canada's the same way. This is why you guys are all healthy, though. We got all these choices of
Yeah.
junk food. I,
You
you
know,
know, it's a real thing.
so yeah, what I'll do with the juices is actually just mix them up. You have like some lemonade, you have some couple of kinds of juices, and you just mix them all over like a cocktail of
No,
juice, you know? It's a cocktail of natural juice.
that's how it works.
100%
But
organic too, man.
there you go.
So, you know, you're eating pretty healthy now. You're eating chicken breast, rice.
Yes.
Don't you ever
Yep.
eat like McDonald's, Burger King, Nando's, Taco Bell, whatever?
No.
No? Serious?
No. I mean, I'll eat like I'll have some extra stuff. Like last night I had a
Yeah.
donut.
Donut.
No, I had 2 donuts last night. So I'll eat the diet and then I'll add in some stuff. But I don't eat. I mean, if I eat out, man. I mean, you probably don't even know these places, but I eat at
Oh
like
my God.
Chipotle. They're like
We don't even
restaurants,
have Chipotle. It's crazy.
Well, that's the healthiest food. That's the healthiest food
Healthy?
chain. Healthiest.
It's a lot of
That's why I
protein
go
and
there.
calories.
Yeah, like eat it and you feel good. You don't feel like
Yeah,
you're gonna die.
because when I'm hungry, yeah,
That's why I
because
go
when
there.
I'm hungry, I just go to Burger King, whatever. Just have like a couple of menus there. I don't know. It's probably not so
I haven't been.
healthy. It's like 100,000 grams of sodium, but all right.
I mean, that's it.
All right, man. Plug your email in here and we can wrap it up, man.
All right, my email is prstrength1,
Uno?
number one, at gmail.com. And I'm booked up, but I mean, I guess you
Man,
can. I've got a wait list for like 20 people, and it's not gonna be anytime soon that I'll be able to take on
serious?
anybody. Because I travel so often. I'll tell you what, I'm on the road at least once a month. So that's like, there's 4 weeks in a month. I'm on the road at least one of those weeks every month, sometimes two. So it's like I'm on the go all the time. Like
Yeah,
I don't, I make a pretty good living, but I'm not trying to make
yeah.
like crazy money because I enjoy what I do. So money's not my directive. I'm kind of just like, I want to be able to live how I live.
Because if you want to make a lot of money, you can just do like the other YouTubers are doing, which are sending out cookie cutter programs. Like, here you go, snap your back,
Well,
and
that's
we'll talk in 3 months. All right.
Dude, think about it though. If I had more than like 35,
Yeah, it's
how would
crazy,
I be
man.
able to
You,
like?
you do all the emails at like Saturdays and Sundays?
Well, no, most of them, I'll be honest, most of you guys are Sunday and Monday, but I have them spread out. But the majority, probably 70% of people give to me on they finish up on Sunday. So Sunday is
Yeah.
my busy day, but then like Sunday I get hammered. Monday is pretty busy, and then the rest of the weeks I don't literally get
Oh,
hammered. I never do.
all right.
But the rest of the week is pretty
Yeah,
chill.
so I can just send you an email. I can get back an answer in a day, like 24 hours. Sometimes you even respond like within 12 hours. It's pretty good, man. I work with a couple other coaches, and they just tell me like, all right, I'm just gonna sign you up for coaching now for 3 months, and I'm probably just gonna talk to you about 5 times in that time when you send me an email. I'm just gonna respond every week, like once a week. All right.
Well, if you
That's
if you
really
take on
helpful. That's really helpful, man. Thank you. All right.
if you had 60 guys, let's say you had like 50 or 60, that's a big
Yeah.
difference from 35, man. Like, you're gonna be like, shit, The only way I could do that many, if I was single, if I was single, I could probably
Yeah.
do it. I'm not saying
Okay.
it's a good idea, but I'm saying like, because girls you can't live with them, you
Yeah,
can't
it's
live
true.
without them. So, my point is, if I had all the time in the world on my hands, I could probably take on like
Really?
50. But well, yeah, because I'll think about all the time you'd spend with your girlfriend. That would be like you'd have like 6 hours extra. So it's like I could take on way more. But or if I didn't travel as much, I could take on
Yeah,
way more.
because you write a program each week. You do modifications to each program like every week. It's a lot of work. You gotta look at forum videos. You gotta look at all the videos. You gotta answer the questions. You got a lot of things, man.
And then like now I'm doing some
Yeah,
seminars, so that keeps me
that's
busy.
exciting, man. When's the next one?
J- April 23rd in Georgia, and then we got one May 27th in Kentucky.
That's pretty
So
dope, man.
it's
That's
always
dope.
busy.
Yo, you're going to France as well for like the deadlift competition there. That's that's like
Yeah,
that's gonna
in
be like a
Europe.
whole new
So
level of cardio, right? It's
good
like in the
Lord,
Alps
yeah,
too.
660. Well, dude, I think the goal should be 16 reps because I did 605 for 16. But this one you can't use straps,
Oh
so
my
I'm like,
God.
oh, it's gonna make it
No.
a little tough. It's
Yeah.
gonna rip.
Yeah. 16 with 600, 500, 600.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's pretty.
that was two
That's
years
crazy,
ago.
man. You think when I started with you, I was doing a lot of touch and go deadlifts, right? And I had a max of
Yeah,
187, 185 for can't remember 5 or 6 with tag, and I worked with you for like 10 weeks, and right now I can do like 187, 185 for like I don't know 7 reps with dead stop. It's
yeah,
pretty crazy, man. It's a big difference. Like let's not kid ourselves.
it's huge.
It's
No,
like
it's huge.
yeah, I think I saw like a 750 triple from you or something on YouTube.
I did I did 765 for
Yeah.
6 touch and go. Could have done it for
Yeah,
maybe
it's
2.
crazy.
That's
Like, but
it's
do you
so
think
different.
like tag deadlifts are better for like building for hypertrophy, like building mass? Because you obviously get a lot more time and attention, right?
I don't know. I'm not crazy about them in any
You
fashion.
think they're
I don't
cheating?
think they like work. I think they
You
don't
don't?
help.
You don't think you think they're cheating?
I think the only thing they might help with is reinforcing position, like
Yeah,
a good position. But outside of that, I think they're garbage. I said it.
man. When are you going to compete in like the world's strongest man and come in Norway, like and compete? Like
Well, I want
Norway's strongest
to.
man, man. I think you can do pretty good.
I want to do the deadlift world
Yeah,
championship.
in Britain, right?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I think
crazy.
so.
That's
Leeds.
crazy. Eddie Hall. I think you can hang with those people. Like, serious, they're pulling like 10,015, I don't know, 1,080, whatever, and you can pull 900. Let's say you just do 900, okay? Like in a year, I think you're able to do 1K. I think you're able to do that. I
That,
think you.
that's the goal, man.
I think you're able to do that, man.
That's the goal.
But that would be crazy though. You're like 242 right now, right?
Yeah, I'm under, but
All right, and they're like 500 pounds. I don't
yeah, they're
know.
like three and a
Yeah,
half
so
more.
you're like the lightest guy ever to compete there,
Yeah,
man.
I mean,
If you do,
it'll be fun.
I hope you get that invite. I think I think
It'll be
George Lehman
fun.
actually got the invite last year for the
Yeah,
championships,
that's hard.
but he couldn't make it for some reason. That was a shame. Yeah, man. You got some things behind you, man. Like some animal pack or what? Animal pack? Or is it just your
Animal
big
pack.
neck, man? I can't know. I don't know. The white cobra? All right.
Yeah.
What is animal? When did you get sponsored by those people?
That was last June, so it's coming up on a year now, and they've been a
Yeah.
really good company for me. But they're pretty much my main sponsor.
Like
So uh, they help with meat expenses too and stuff, and the cage
yeah.
obviously stuff like that is fun.
I think the video uh, that was crazy for me was like the 900 super training. That was crazy, man. That was like super
Yeah,
motivation right there. You got up to your knees and you were like shake. Man, what are you doing? You
those
have nine. You
squats
have
was
900 in you
close.
though. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gotta build back up to it
You're
now.
pretty
So
much done with 900 right now. You're gonna go for like 910, 905.
that's the plan. Yeah, skip past
Yeah.
it.
Do you think I should just skip past the one that I missed right now, Saturday, and just go for like something bigger?
Go
Yeah?
202. Yeah, go to 202.5.
Serious? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get there though. Serious.
Sweet.
So I think this pretty much wraps up this whole Skype chat. It was a pleasure,
Okay.
man, talking to you.
Yeah, it was
Taking your
awesome.
time was really awesome for me, man. So I really got to break the ice with the first interview, uh, and I really appreciate
Yeah.
it, man. Um, so I
Yeah, of
look forward
course.
to another 2 weeks of training left with you before we start,
Okay.
before I go over to Josh, and
Yeah.
I'll definitely send you my video when I do 220. I'll definitely send you that video. When I
Yeah.
go 500, I'm gonna
Okay.
send you that video. And yeah, yeah.
Congrats.
All right, man. We've been talking for like an hour and 6 minutes now,
All right.
so shit. All right, man.
Wow.
Thanks a lot. Have a good
Yeah,
one,
you're
buddy.
welcome.